next story is just as crazy, if not crazier than the first story. Hey guys, it's Priscilla, and for today's video I'm going to be talking to you about two unexplainable stories that help really question whether or not there are really such things as a parallel universe and whether or not we do really have the ability to time travel. So the first story we're going to get into is the Man of Taured, and for those of you who don't know, in July of 1954 a mysterious man was traveling from Europe to Japan on what was supposed to be a normal regular business trip, but was stopped by airport officials when they noticed that on his passport the country that he originated from was a country called Taured. Now during this time airport officials felt that there had to be a simple explanation as to why they didn't know where Taured was or the location of Taured. But when airport officials presented the mysterious man with the world map, the man looked genuinely shocked that he could not find the country in which he claimed to be from. He would go on to argue that the country in which he was located from was supposed to be where Andorra was. For those of you who don't know, Andorra is right smack down in the middle between France and Spain, and that his country had existed for thousands of years and it should have been on the map. He would go on to claim that this was his third trip this year to Japan and that he had taken many trips to Japan in the last 5 years and didn't understand what the delay was in approving his trip. But what was also stranger was that the company he had stated that he worked for did not exist, and the hotel that he claimed to have reservations for did not know who he was and apparently had no reservations at the hotel. So since airport officials really couldn't detain him in an airport room, they decided to reserve a room for him at a nearby hotel until they felt they had handled this matter appropriately. So 2 immigration officers were set to guard the room the entire night to ensure that this man would not leave or escape. So this is where things get very strange. So we have 2 security immigration officers guarding his room, and when they went to go check up on him the next morning and kind of just see how things were, this man was completely gone. There was no trace of him whatsoever. And what was really strange was that the only way out of this room would be from the window, but would be almost impossible because his window was on the very top floor of the hotel and it was also looking over a busy street. So if he were to have escaped, he probably would have gotten hurt in the process. And what was also very strange was that all of the stuff that was taken away from him, such as his passport, his license, and everything that he had with him when he flew into Japan, was also missing. I mean, there probably is an explanation as to how this man had disappeared, but there is no explanation as to how the stuff that was taken to him and was in high security in the airport also be missing. So it's just very strange. It makes you kind of really think about the possibilities of the world that we live in. So this next story is just as crazy, if not crazier than the first story. This story surfaced a few years ago and it's about Liliana Garcia, whose story surfaced within a Spanish comment section on a website called Tendencias 21. Tendencias, I think that's what it's called. This story was very detailed and very weird. This is where she claims to have jumped from one universe to the next. On July 16, 2008, Liliana Garcia posted a comment in response to an article of multiple universes. She was 41 years old when she explained that she experienced something so inexplainable, so bizarre, that she was worried that people would think she was having a psychotic break. Liliana Garcia claimed that she had gone to bed one night and woke up the next day to find that the world around her changed in the strangest yet the subtlest ways possible. She would go on to claim that her first change that she noticed was her bed sheets. She said that she went to bed the night before and woke up the next morning to notice that her bed sheets were a different color. And of course, at this point, she really didn't think anything of it. She did say that she was a little bit confused, but went ahead and proceeded on with her day. So Garcia's second change was her job. When she walked into her office, she noticed that the names on the doors were different and her name was not on there. So she thought she probably got off on the wrong floor, but after examining the area and the space, she noticed that she did get off on the right floor. Garcia, being confused about what was happening, she starts walking around and gets off on a different floor, and realizing that she still works for the same company, but she just now works on a different floor for a different department and reports now to a director she has no idea of. So at this point, Garcia is freaking out and decides to let her manager know that she's sick and doesn't feel well, and she's going to be taking the rest of the day off. Garcia then decides to go visit a doctor and takes tests and tries to figure out if there is anything wrong with her. And at that point, she also goes and sees a psychiatrist and explains to the psychiatrist of these weird occurrences that she's experiencing today. The psychiatrist tells her that everything came out fine, all results came out normal, and that she just must be suffering from stress or a lapse of memory, or had even possibly hallucinated the memories she was explaining. But Garcia believed that these changes were too real and too bizarre to be even considered hallucination. Garcia would go on to explain that although all of the small things were still the same, such as her license plate, her family, the house that she lived in, the top that she wore the night before, and even the news that was on yesterday were all still the same, it was other personal details that were very, very different. Her third change was her sister. She remembered that her sister had had surgery on her arm, but when asked how her arm was doing, her sister and her family had no recollection of a surgery even taking place. But the fourth and most shocking change that Garcia really noticed and was really freaked out about was her boyfriend. So she had previously dumped her ex-boyfriend a few months prior and had met a new guy who lived within her neighborhood. But in this universe, she realized very quickly that she was still with her ex-boyfriend whom she dumped, and the guy who she believed she was dating did not exist whatsoever. In her statement, she stated, "I left and started a relationship with a guy in my neighborhood. I know it perfectly. I've been with him for 4 months and know his name, address, where he works, and where he studied. Well, that guy does not exist now. It seems he existed before my jump, but now there is no trace of him." Garcia would go on as far as hiring a detective, but nothing really came up of her new boyfriend. It was like he didn't exist in this universe. And with her ex, it was like nothing has ever happened and they were still together. Garcia would go on to explain that it was as if she just dreamt the last 5 months of her life and would begin searching stories high and low within the internet and trying to figure out if anybody has had a similar story as her or similar occurrences as her, and in turn ended her post with a plea of help, asking anyone to send her an email if they had experienced the same thing. Now, the story is just so bizarre and so intriguing because she really truly remembers details of her life, such as the name of her ex-boyfriend, where he works, where he lives, the address, where he studied, and remember vividly breaking up with her ex-boyfriend but being with him in this current life. So it just really makes you wonder whether or not parallel universes really do exist, and maybe the ability to time travel, or in her case, jump universes. I know when I was doing research on Lirana Garcia, a lot of people had commented on the articles about her, stating that they too remember jumping from one universe to another. I just think the story is so bizarre and so crazy, and it really makes you wonder, and it makes you think, well, at least it does for me, on really the mysteries of this world and whether or not we are able to jump universes, or there is a parallel universe, or it may be the ability to time travel. It's just, it really does make you think and make you wonder, why would anyone make something up like this? Like I get maybe there could be some people here and there that joke about it, but there are some people who truly believe that they either time traveled or jumped universes. But it's stories like these that will always remain a mystery of whether or not there is such a possibility of something like this happening within our world. And this is what I love about our Earth and our universe. It's just full of mysteries and full of magic. And these two stories were really so bizarre and very like almost impossible to have happened. But I mean, again, the impossible could be possible, so we just don't know. I really hoped that you enjoyed these two stories, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It would make me so happy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!